Hey everyone, it's Ashpreet, and today I want to talk about agentic memory. There are three types of memory that we need to maintain to provide a good agentic experience for our users. The first one is chat history, which is very useful when the user is having multi-turn conversations with the agent. Because the model APIs are stateless, we need to maintain the list of messages in a conversation so that we can send it to the model API. The next type of memory is personalized memories, where the agent remembers key details about the user. For example, if I tell the agent, my name is Ashpreet and I live in New York, it'll remember these details and personalize its responses to these details. The last type of memory is session summaries. It's very much related to the chat history. Let's say your chat history has gotten very long. The user has had 20, 30 messages with the agent. In that case, we want to summarize the conversation and send the summary along with the last 3 to 5 messages. We don't want to send the entire like 30, 40 message list because it could exceed our context window. So we'll send the last 3 to 5 messages along with the summary of the session so that the agent can respond properly. These three types of memories enable us to build a holistic agentic experience for our users. So let's get into it. We're going to work through some code to see how these memories work. The code's in the Phidata repo under the cookbook memory folder. And fork it, clone it in, and open it up in the code editor of your choice. Open up the memory folder and the first file we're going to be working with is the agent with long-term memory. Create your Python virtual environment, install dependencies, and then run this file. So in this file, we have a very simple agent. It doesn't have any tools because we want to demo the memory first. So the key component over here is this storage. What storage does is every time the agent is run, it gets a new session ID. Storage will store that session information in a database and help us restart that session whenever we want. So in this case, we'll just use a SQLite database for storage. In production, we'll use a Postgres database, which we really like to use. But in this example, we'll just use SQLite. It works for these demos. The next thing is we're going to tell the agent to add the history to the messages. Phidata agents automatically maintain this memory for you, but we need to explicitly tell them to add the chat history to the messages list that's sent to the model APIs. We're going to turn this off for now because I want to first see what happens when we don't send this history. We're going to send 2 messages to the agent. First is share a horror story, and then we're going to be like, what was my first message? So open up the terminal, install dependencies, and then run this file. What we'll see is that the first message works fine. We have the system message, the user message, and the assistant response. Then when we ask what was our first message, the agent doesn't know because we haven't sent that information to them. So what the chat history of this session is, the system message, the user message, first one, and the second one, the assistant response, and then the user message, and then the final response. But because we did not send this chat history in our model messages, it didn't know what was the first message. So let's turn on the ability to send history and then see. So this is automatically handled by certain model providers, like the OpenAI Assistants API will automatically handle this for you. But with Phidata, you get a little more control over what type of messages you want to send, how many of them. Do you want to send tool responses or not? So, okay, so let's try this again. So we first send, tell me a horror story. This is our first message. Great. Now, when we say, what was my first message? The assistant knows, because we sent it in the messages list, the assistant knows that we asked them to share a 2 sentence horror story. So this is chat history. This is automatically handled by Phidata agents. This is one of the key features why people absolutely love Phidata, because we enable the developer to maintain this chat history without, like, the storage driver automatically adds these details to them. There's a lot of like other things which are there. So we maintain the chats, we maintain the tool call responses, which really help us build a proper agentic experience. But let's go to the other types of memories and then we'll talk more about them. So the next file we're going to be working with is the agent with memories and summaries. Let me just increase the text size over here. And so in this one, we have the same plain simple agent. We have our storage, which is storing the sessions. We're telling it, okay, add the history to messages, send these many messages responses. But then we brought in another component, which is the agent memory. So in this one as well, we have the agent memory, but by default, we just give it like the regular memory. But in this one, we'll say that store the memory, so create user memories and store it in this database, uh, table agent memory, and store the user data, personalized user memories in this database. So this is a separate table from storage simply because this data is the primary key is the user ID. The user ID which the agent is interacting with. In this case, it's just a sample user, John Billings. And now what we'll do is we'll store information, key details about John Billings in this particular table. So storage is used per session, whereas the memory DB is across sessions. It's based on the user ID. Now we're going to say, okay, create user memories, update user memories after each run. So create the memories after each run. So you can turn this false and generate the memories yourself, trigger the memory creation part yourself as well. And then another thing which we're going to do is we're going to ask the agent to create and store session summaries. So along with the memories about the user, also generate a summary of the session. So session summaries are stored in the storage because they're at a session level. So the way I'd look at it is anything that is at a session level, which means it's about to do with the agent run, is stored in the storage, whereas anything that is at a user level is in the memory DB. Okay, perfect. Now let's give it a try. So this is just like some formatting functions so that we can see them neatly. First message which we're going to send to the agent is, my name is John Billings and I live in New York. I'm going to concert tomorrow. And then what have we been talking about? Do you know my name? So let's run this and see what's going on. File number 2, agent with memories and summaries. So first I'll share, my name is John Billings and I live in New York. The agent says, great, thanks for letting me know. Brilliant. So in this case, the chat history, which we see is that the system message, the user response, and then the assistant is like updating the memory behind the scenes. And then the final, thanks for sharing, and I've updated this. So this is actually a tool call. This is just in some rendering issue where the assistant is actually updating, okay, let me update the memory. And then we see that the memory for user ID John Billings, the username is John Billings, they live in New York, and the input, which kind of did this, remember that the user's name, and so this is the input that created this memory. And then there's the session summary, which is the user John Billings shared, he lives in New York. The next message, I'm going to do a concert tomorrow. The same thing, we're going to send the full chat history. So that's the chat history, which we spoke about earlier. Then we have the memory. So I'm going to a concert tomorrow. That's not like key detail about the user. So that's not remembered, but it's added to the summary. John Billings from New York is attending a concert tomorrow. So all of this information can be inserted into the prompt so that the agent knows these details as they're having a conversation. So I say, what are we talking about? Do you know my name? In that case, the agent says, I know your name. We've talked about you attending a concert, XYZ. So that's a small introduction to agentic memory. There are 3 types of memories that we work with: chat history, personalized memories, and the session summaries. Um, Agentic memory is like a slightly kind of intricate topic. It's a little complex. Chart history is very easy. It just comes out of the box. And most of the times, that's all we need. But sometimes we need personalization. We need summarization. So in that case, Phidata comes out of the box. It makes it really, really easy. You can see I'm in love with this API that's there. Okay, here goes the memory. There's the memory DB, create memories, create session summaries, and it does things out of the box. Of course, there's more customization of the memory driver. If you need, for example, we can provide a summarizer agent that is summarizing. Phidata provides a default one, but we can, in more advanced cases, we will definitely provide our own memory summarizer. And then again, we can provide, same for the user memories, we can provide our own classifier. That's like, okay, that classifies whether this is an information that we should remember. And the memory manager that kind of manages the updating of the memory. So all of those things can also be customized further, along with like how we retrieve that memory, and more details. But I'll keep this one short. Hope you find this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Test it out, please provide feedback, and hope you have a great day. Goodbye.